All right. Good morning, good afternoon. It's about 10:02, so we've got some people popping in, but we also have the session recorded. So we'll be happy to share the recording afterwards for those folks who might be getting in late or can't attend today. But good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be dialing in from. Um, we really appreciate you giving us your time. My name's John Callahan. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Expense AI. It's great to have you with us. Whether you're joining from your office, your home setup, perhaps somewhere on the road, again, we really appreciate you taking time out of your calendar to connect with us today. So we have a pretty full session. Let me set the stage and walk through the agenda, and then we'll talk about some of the housekeeping items as well. So today's session is all about innovation and progress, the work that our team's been doing to push the boundaries of finance automation within the legal industry. Over the next 50 minutes or so, we're going to walk through the major product, platform, and business updates driving Expense AI forward and give you a real look at how firms are transforming operations with AI-powered automation. So let me review the agenda briefly. Here's what we've got lined up for today. We're going to start with Hugo, our co-founder and chief executive. Hugo is going to share the vision and context behind the Expense AI mission and talk about the momentum that we've been building in the market this year. Next up, Dominic, our co-founder and chief product officer, is going to talk us through some exciting new enhancements and features that we've been adding to the platform, many of that coming as direct feedback from our clients and from the markets as well. But these are innovations that make finance teams faster, smarter, more productive, and more connected. As a result of that, your finance teams can typically offer better service for your partners and establish better relationships with your vendors and suppliers. Following that, Hugo is going to come back, share a glimpse of what's on the horizon, the next phase of our roadmap, what's at stake as we continue expanding the capabilities of Expense AI. Then we're going to hear from Jeremy, our Chief Technology Officer. He's going to walk us through the security and compliance advancements that make Expense AI a truly secure and trusted cloud platform in today's law firm environments worldwide. Finally, I'm going to wrap up with a quick look at some of the global growth we've experienced in 2025 and how that momentum is shaping our plans for 2026 and beyond. We're going to finish with a live Q&A, but so hopefully you can stick around for that part of the discussion, but also let me talk about some of the housekeeping ways in which we're going to make that happen. So throughout the presentation, we really encourage you to ask questions in the Teams chat or the Q&A panel. We'll answer them along the way if there are questions that are pertinent to the content that we're talking about at that moment. Otherwise, we'll save them possibly for the end. If we run short of time or you think of questions afterwards, not to worry. We're going to share our contact email address at the end so that you can send in additional inquiries. But also note, many of you were invited here today either by email or by LinkedIn, so use those platforms as well if you want to reach back and have questions or want to see more things in more detail. So let's dive right in. Let's get started. We've got a lot to share today and some really exciting developments ahead. So to kick things off, I'm going to welcome our Chief Executive, Hugo, to set the stage with the vision, the mission, and a look at the progress we've made so far. So Hugo, over to you.
Hey, thanks, John, and hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with all of you today, clients, partners, and friends who've been part of this journey with us, and also those who are joining Expense AI for the first time. When we started this adventure, our mission was simple: bring the power of AI to the legal and professional services world, not just as a buzzword, but as something truly transformative. We wanted to take processes that were slow, repetitive, and error-prone, like invoice management, expense approval, reconciliations, and make them smarter, faster, and more reliable. And what's really exciting is that we're seeing it happen. Our clients are not only cutting costs and reducing manual work, they're becoming more competitive. Law firms using Expense AI are billing their clients months faster than those relying on traditional systems. This means better cash flow, fewer collection headaches, happier clients, and ultimately stronger relationships. And this is what we mean when we say we're helping our clients not just operate better, but win. Over the past months, we've kept that vision front and center. We've developed a lot of new modules, refined our existing features, and we're literally just days from achieving SOC 2 Type 2 compliance, which is a huge milestone for us as a company that values trust and data security as much as innovation. But what excites me the most is what's coming next. As we move towards 2026, we're scaling internationally, expanding our platform with new modules that tackles even more of the pain points you've shared with us. We're also taking a big step towards AI, bringing agentic intelligence and predictive models into Expense AI. That means moving from automation to true anticipation, a system that not only reacts to your workflow, but helps you make better decisions before issues even arise. Everything we're building, every new line of code, every feature is focused on one thing, helping you run a more efficient, accurate, and competitive organization. So with that, I'll end it to John to kick off the product update and demo section. We've got some amazing things to show you today, and I think you'll see how Expense AI continues to evolve to make your work simpler, faster, and smarter. Thank you.
Thanks, Hugo. Appreciate that. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to Dominic, who's our co-founder and chief product officer. And Dominic, if you could walk us through sort of all the exciting stuff we've been doing in 2025 and show some of that stuff off, I think that would be terrific. So over to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, John. So welcome everyone to the demo portion of the webinar, the most exciting portion, if you ask me. So just before we move on to the new modules, I think it's a good idea to maybe take a step back and show you what we already have. So the existing suites of modules that we have live right now, just because for some of you, this might be the first time you're seeing the product, and for others, it's it's a good idea just to go in and do a bit of a refresher. And to do that, we'll start by showing you just how easy it is to load invoices in the platform. You can see here I'm doing a drag and drop of batch of invoices, maybe 15 invoices in there. We're starting to process these invoices. We're using what we call serverless containers, and you can see how quickly we are able to extract this information on those invoices. What you're seeing here is the centralized workflow. Obviously, depending on your requirements, it's easy for us to think of having a decentralized approach as well, where you could have multiple users go in and load invoices in the platform, and you can see here the username, so it's easy to see who's been loading invoices in the platform. But basically the point here is to kind of show you how easy it is to get invoices in the platform, and then you could also, by the way, have like a dedicated email address in which we go in and fetch the documents and start processing the invoices. And again, using serverless containers, so it means that they're not queued, right? So we're not waiting to finish the first one to get to the second one. We use as many windows as we need on our cloud infrastructure to get those invoices processed simultaneously, so which means that we're pretty easy to scale and very efficient in the way we process that information. Now, looking beneath the surface, what it is we're doing, what's the challenge we're trying to solve here? Expense AI, basically, what we're trying to achieve, the vision is to make sure that we are able to support your process around data entry and to have an accurate data extraction in a complex environment. This is really the thesis at the foundation of the company, where we saw a challenge around the complexity of getting this data extracted and processed. And the way we did that, the way we built our infrastructure, we have now multiple agents working on the data. and all those agents are responsible to extract one field on that invoice. So that allows us to be very agile and efficient. And the OCR process that every other platform has, that is just the first step in our workflow. So OCR happens, this data is then moved over in our platform, and then those agents start working on that data. And that also allows us to add extra logic to the extraction. And so, for example, going back to the initial challenge, having documents that are very complex to extract, a lot of information, multi-pages, multi-line items, and the information, as you can see here, is not necessarily structured, and there are needs on top of the extraction. And given the fact that we've built this platform and trained on legal data, gives us that edge and allows us to add this logic to the extraction. You can see here the box, looks like it's a $224 item. If you take a closer look, you can see there's the first item, $41.39. This one is taxable, and $177. That's a non-taxable item. Again, this third box here, the 13 and the 16. It's actually, there's a need to combine these both items to get to $29.90. This one is a taxable item, and then by difference to get to $243. You got the 209. So all this to say that we're able to understand, and a lot of things are happening on obviously on this screen. So the tax environment we're able to understand. So there's an agent looking to understand that tax environment. What's the pre-tax amount? What's the post-tax amount? What's the tax rate? Understanding that environment, and then being able to infer what the proper tax code is. And then looking even at the matter number, you can see the 31403.2 on that first line item here. And we're able to then extract, not only are we extracting, but that agent responsible for the matter extraction understands your requirements, understand the need to go in and do zero padding to that matter number in order to push it in the system and make sure this one is not going to get errored out when you go in and finalize that batch. So all these agents, again, responsible to extract a certain field on the invoice, even the payee, the vendor on the invoice here. Not only are we looking at the name of the vendor, but we're adding extra layers on top of that, on that agent, looking at your actual database, looking at your data collection, doing some fuzzy matching, looking at the address of the vendor, the zip code. And so these are adding up in a ratio, and we have a list of potential candidates, obviously, and the one with the highest ratio is then brought back in this interface. So basically, just like a clerk typing the name of the vendor in the system, there's a query behind the scene looking at the table and bringing back this validated field. So we're slowly building this voucher from start to finish. Again, going back to that vision of making sure that we're able to support this data entry process and be as close as possible of automating this data entry and having a tool that supports that process. And this is how we say on an invoice where we have 10 pages, multiple line items on every page, is how we're able to process this information in a matter of seconds compared to probably 20, 30, 40 minutes of someone typing that information in the system. This adds a lot of value to your process. Now, on top of that, after having mastered the basics of extraction, we quickly realized that we needed to be able to provide you with a tool to support your rules and policies. So additional transformation on top of the initial extraction that will take into consideration your own rules. And this is exactly what we've built here in our rules engine, rules manager. This will allow you to build your own rules with a set of conditions. Very flexible, very easy to use, very kind of easy to go in and build branches and have multiple steps. We'll be there obviously during implementation to help build those out. But the point here is it's 100% self-serve. So you don't have to call us to get something done in this rules engine. And very easily you can transform the way you want to code an invoice if you know exactly what those rules are beforehand. And you can see here, we're basically going to say if that vendor is Lucas Inc. and the definition of an line item contains, Lucas Inc., then we want to change that cost type to 99X. So now we go in and load an invoice and we start that extraction process. And now on top of that OCR and Expense.ai standard extraction with those agents, we now add this extra layer where we recognize that condition, seeing that description, and then change the actual coding and that cost type on that voucher to 99X. So very small example of the power behind the rules engine. And then we have some use cases where we process invoice with a couple hundred line items, and we're able to trigger those rules at the line item level and change the way we code at the line item level, adding some markups, adding recovery accounts. So in some cases, adding 2, 3, 4 extra line items on a 200 line item invoice, again, adds a lot of value around that data extraction, data processing, data transformation, and voucher creation process.
Hey, Dominic.
Yep.
We had one question I thought the timing might be good to break in, so sorry to break your flow.
Sure.
But quick question, do you have to create a template for all your new vendors when they send in their invoices?
No, absolutely not. And that's a great question, because a lot of the times on those platforms on the market, sometimes you have to go in and with a new vendor, you have to change or build a new template to extract the information from that invoice. Going back to that structure, how we use agents and OCR happens, and then those agents start working on the data. We don't care where the information sits on the invoice as long as it's on the invoice. And we are also able to process handwritten information. But again, if that information is on the invoice, then we're able to extract it. And so even the use case where a vendor changes the way he's, changes an invoice format, for us, it has no impact on how we're able to extract that information. So thank you for that question. Now, I think you can kind of see the trend here. What we're trying to achieve is really, and going back to the foundation and the vision of what we're trying to do around data extraction, voucher creation, data entry. So the trend is there. We want to be able to provide sophisticated data entry process tools to support this. And the last piece of that puzzle is to stay relevant over time. And so what we have here, what we've built and deployed, is our Expense learning module. And this will allow you to make sure that over time, any new coding coming in for an invoice will be able to understand that exception and then propose new learning, what we call learning opportunities. So basically, it's adaptive GL coding. And if we take a look at how it looks, you can see here during the validation process, we have an invoice for servers. We want to change that GL natural to 15,000. This is our CapEx account. We validate the invoice. We go in and finalize the invoice. Now the invoice is sitting in the system. And going to the dashboard monitor section, you can see we have here this new learning opportunity for this vendor specifically. and for that description of an item where it contains servers. So which means that any new invoice coming in for that vendor with that description specifically on the line item. So we're really able to go in at the line item level and make sure that we provide this new coding to invoices coming in. Future invoices will all automatically go in and hit that GL natural 15,000. So again, making sure that that is relevant coding over time. And there are multiple ways where you can go in and do some learning around some data. And basically, this is the easiest way. We're not going into heavy machine learning where you have to tag everything and get a bunch of data in the system. But this will allow you to make sure that you're seeing your new learning opportunities as they occur on a daily basis. All right, so now I want to take you to basically a quick tour, and this will move quickly, so apologies, and don't hesitate to reach out if you want like a slower pace where we can go and show you the platform. But here we go. Just want to show you a couple of features. The dashboard, you got your queries where you can go in and select at the vendor level, invoice level, same for the archive section. So these are basically your tools, basically your DM for AP, and you can easily go and see the audit trail, everything that is happening throughout the life of that invoice. Top of that, if you want to extract the information out of the platform, you have your report builder. You can build your own based on your criteria. You could add a couple also criteria here when you're building a report, export that Excel or CSV. Invoices are finalized. They're sitting in your AP subledger. You can also now go into the payments module, select your processing account and request approval and kickstart that payment processing. And also here, the expense report module, where you're able to create your own. We're not going to go in depth in this, basically your expenses module, but please reach out if you want to see that module. And going back to this monitor section, where basically you're getting insights into everything that is happening in the environment. Your monthly, yearly, compared to budgets. You're going to see your trends where we're going to show you your monthly spend, compare that to your average monthly spend. So you can see, if are we having proper cutoff before we're printing financials. Drill down, at the GL level, at the vendor level. Again, very easy to have access to all this information on this dashboard and to easily be able to drill down all the way to the invoice to get access to the actual PDF document in there. All right, so now on to the new modules, and these are very exciting. So we've got this very good foundation, and on top of that, we're adding value to specific processes, and after having conversations with multiple firms, the first new module that we're showing you here today is the redaction module. And what that does is basically it automates the process in which you have to provide supporting documents to your clients during the billing process. So we're now kind of slowly looking at other processes in your department. Billing department is closely related to what happens obviously on the disbursement side of things. So the process in which you have to provide those supporting documents is very cumbersome, and a lot of firms are allocating a lot of resources to getting this done. And what we did is we are now able to ask our AI to locate the header of an invoice and to locate the position of a line item. And once we have these two images, because we're also able to automate the data capture of each of those. So we're going to take a capture of the header, we're going to take a capture of the line item, and we're going to combine both of those captures together and then return those in at the line item level. And we'll store that with the cost card, and that will allow you during your billing process to go and automatically fetch those documents. So saving a lot of time here. Let me show you what that looks like. So we now have an invoice. Obviously, you can think of an invoice that has multiple pages, multiple line items, and you have the header and you have those line items, and you can see this information has been extracted. Now going into the platform and clicking on the redact button and going back up here on that invoice screen, you can see you have that redacted tab. And here you can see those new combined images of the header of the invoice and the line item. And you can see I can show all of them, or just a single line item. You can see how we're actually storing those at the line item level, so you can go in, download. But basically, when we go in and create that voucher, all of those images will be stored at the line item level. So another good way to add value around voucher creation, automating this process of redacting or taking a screenshot or image capture of the screen and providing those supporting documents to your clients during the billing process. So very proud of that new module. And next up is the credit card module. More specifically, it's the credit card intake process. And what we did here is basically we are centralizing every new intake for invoices coming in, regardless if you're using your credit card to make those payments or writing a check down the road. We want to be able to provide you with this experience that will allow your users to load an invoice. And you can see we now have this new button, add credit card invoice, on this dashboard. So everything kind of goes back on this centralized AP dashboard, because that's just what it is. It's accounts payable. It's just you're using a credit card. And the challenge there is, how do you reconcile a transaction on your credit card with your statements? And this is exactly what we're doing, and we're able to provide you with this experience. And automatically, not only are we extracting the information, so repurposing that AI extraction engine, every rule are still applied, every workflows are still applied, and so we're repurposing this engine, and then we're also kickstarting a matching algorithm behind the scene. And you can see here, we're going to add this credit card invoice. So we're going to work on that extraction and then kickstart that matching algorithm. We're going to look at the amounts, dates, confirmation numbers, merchant information. And in your credit card module now, we're able to have this statement fed on a daily basis, where we're able to have those transactions. You're seeing those transactions that are pending, and that invoice is now matched to this card statement, and we bring it back with this flag of being a prepaid transaction, which also means that when we go and push this transaction back in the system, we're going to flag it as prepaid. So instead of hitting your AP subledger, we're going to hit your card contra account. So again, this was very quick to kind of try and show you the power behind this new module. And I wished we had something like that back then when I was working in a law firm, because removing the headaches around reconciliation, it was always a challenge trying to make sure that we have proper supporting documents. And this really adds a lot of value to that process. Having this single point of entry, matching this with your statements, reconciliation, that removes a lot of headaches again, and you can close your month faster, and you can have, this daily reconciliation process instead of waiting at the end of the month and getting this done, in a couple of days during your month end processing. You're able to get those in on a daily basis. So again, I think this is, like game changer to me. Very proud of this module. So in terms of, demos, I think we're pretty much done here. So I really hope I was able to convey how much value we bring to the table by, using some of these tools, all of these tools. And I think the key thing is figuring out what is the biggest pain point you have right now, and to just basically just get started. And so now I'll send it back to John to continue the webinar, but please don't hesitate to reach out to get a personalized session, and then in which we can kind of start tackling these issues. It would be my pleasure and my honor. So, John?
Thanks, Dominic. That was great. I think now is a good time to interject with another question while you're still here, because I think it's on the content you just shared. So someone's interested in taking advantage of the solution. They're not sure how they can deploy it all at once, given all the functionality that's there. So the question, I guess, is there a way to get some of the solution up and running quickly and integrated with my 3E platform? And then if so, how long do these implementations typically take if you were to take more of a modular approach to rolling out the Expense.ai platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's why I was kind of mentioning, try to figure out what's the biggest pain point. And given the fact that we're very efficient in data extraction, data processing, that credit card reconciliation, if you have big pain point around just getting that data extracted and in the system, you could start with just AP, credit card, and slowly expand that footprint. And so trying to figure out, again, where's the biggest pain point, and getting started, I think is the key. And it's not a big lift for us to get those integrations done, and to get started, get that project started, and start getting some value out of that platform quickly. Typically that implementation, the tech portion of that implementation takes 4 to 6 weeks, and then we can really start and get working on the workflows and seeing how we can remove those pain points in your process. So yes, 100%. I think the approach of starting small but getting started is definitely the best way to tackle this.
Cool. And for those of you who know me, you know that I have experience in the past with implementing and rolling out financial management systems, which can be extremely large, extremely complex, very expensive projects. I can tell you from our experiences here with Expense.ai that, to Dominic's point, these projects are much lighter weight, less impactful. They tend to go quickly. If you are sort of setting up new functionality modularly in adjacency to your current products, they plug right in. If you're replacing something, they can run in parallel for a short period of time while you test it out. But my point here is it's very different type of project from the ones, if those of you in the audience have done 3E implementations, AdWord implementations, whatever it may be, which can be quite large and very intrusive. These are not that way at all. So great. Dominic, thank you. That was a great overview. Appreciate you walking us through that. So at this point, I'm going to jump it over back to Hugo, who's going to take a little, show us a glimpse of the future for Expense.ai. Hugo?
Yes, of course. Thank you, John. And so, yeah, before we close the product section, I'd like to give you a quick peek into what's coming next for Expense.ai. Everything we've seen so far has been driven by one simple thing: listening to what our clients actually need. And what we keep hearing again and again is that firms want more automation, better tools, and technology that finally feels like 2025. So that's exactly what our roadmap is about. Next item on the roadmap is our fixed assets module. If you've worked with large practice management systems like Elite3E, Adorant, you know this pain point. They either have no fixed asset modules at all, or they have one that feels like it's been built 20 years ago. Most firms end up using outdated third-party software just to track things like their real estate, computers, or office equipment. It's clunky, disconnected, and frankly, it's a problem that's been ignored for too long. So we decided to fix it and bring 2025 technology to fixed asset management. The module is fully integrated with Expense.ai and our ecosystem, and also with your existing practice management systems. It automatically capitalizes assets from invoices and those depreciation schedules, provides instant reporting, and even supports QR or barcode tracking for physical asset. It's fast, modern, accurate, and for the first time, it gives firms a proper integrated way to manage fixed assets inside the same ecosystem as their payables and expenses. So we're already in beta testing. The feedback so far has been fantastic. So it's just not about saving time. It's about finally having a good solution for a real pain point that's been neglected by the big platforms for years. And then the most exciting one, or virtual controller. We call it the Expense AI CFO assistant. This is the natural step in our evolution, moving from simple automation to true intelligence. Imagine having an AI-powered partner that you can actually talk to. One that has full access to your account payable data, your expense, your workflow, and can not only answer your questions, but also anticipate your needs. You'd be able to chat with that assistant and ask questions like, which suppliers are due for payment this week? Or show me the top 5 upcoming expenses in the upcoming 30 days, how much we've spent on travel this quarter, but also more advanced question like who has the biggest monthly spend on their corporate credit card, or has there been any vendor with significant invoice increase recently to detect fraud or trends? Which approvers are consistently delaying invoice approval if you want to optimize your workflow? And anything you can think of, it will figure it out. It won't just answer, it will predict, flag anomalies, forecast, and eventually help you make decisions before problems even arise. That's what we mean when we say Expense AI isn't just automating accounting. We're building an AI partner for the finance function, a true virtual controller that helps CFOs and controllers make smarter, faster, and more informed decisions. We're planning to open a private beta in 2026, and this will mark a massive leap forward for our platform and for the industry as a whole. So that's it for the upcoming module. John, back to you.
Thanks, Hugo. Pretty exciting. I know a few people that could use a virtual controller, if you know what I mean. But that is a whole other story. But thank you for that glimpse into the future. I think that looks pretty exciting. So at this time, I'm going to introduce Jeremy, our Chief Technology Officer. He's going to walk us through all the work that we've been doing from the perspective of cyber and security, and making sure that the Expense AI platform is as secure as any law firm is going to need it to be in this day and age. So, Jeremy, let me turn it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. This is now the part of the webinar where we switch to French accent, as you can see and hear. So I'm here to talk to you about cybersecurity and what we do to secure your data. Yeah, thank you, Dan. And I'm quite excited on this subject today because as of yesterday evening, we are now SOC 2 Type 2 certified, which is one of the best recognition we can get in North America. That means that the data that you share with Expense.ai are secure in the best way possible. So that for us, it's an incredible milestone that has been achieved with tremendous work in the last few months, and we're quite happy to share that with you today. However, the journey in cybersecurity does not stop there. As you can see, we continue on our way to the ISO 27001 certification that we're trying to achieve for early Q2, Q3 2026. And for our European friends, we're going to continue with GDPR. As you know, certification is not all, so we'll continue to increase our cybersecurity to evolve with the upcoming threat that we can see in North America. To do that, we do every yearly penetration testing. So what are penetration testing? Is when we ask independent company to try to hack and breach Expense.ai. And we do that every year to ensure that all the new capabilities that has been shown by Dominic or the one coming shown by Hugo is going to be secure for the data that you're going to share and trust with us. On top of that, we ensure that our incident response plan is always up to date and we're always ready. Because in cybersecurity, it's not a matter of if it happens, it's when it will happen. Will we be ready? How are we going to ensure that we do not disturb your operation? Our goal is to keep your data secure and ensure you always have a way to work and trusting Expense.ai. On top of that, of course, all the certification mentioned needs to be audited every year. So we are going to internal and external audit every year to ensure that we continue to keep the best way of securing your data. And last but not least, we are basing all our security on the cybersecurity policies and control. This is where we define all the backbone of the security that we're doing at Expense.ai and how do we manage your data, how we manage the access, the network and everything. And this is what I'm going to expose right now. Thank you. So for the cybersecurity policies and control, we're using what we call the NIST, which is one of the best practices in North America being used, NIST 2.0, to review and ensure that all the security around the Expense.ai is following the best practice. We're leveraging the secure cloud infrastructure, leveraging GCP, Google Cloud provider. We are using all the latest technology provided by Google to ensure that everything is being monitored at all time and we have a way to react for any breach. Same for the databases. All the data shared with us are always encrypted. Encrypted at rest, which means when the data sits inside our databases, everything is encrypted. But even when you're sharing this data with us, all of that is being secure all along the way. Of course, we classify data. We won't react the same way if someone hacked the data to get invoice versus email or versus just a username. So we have to classify this data to ensure we have the good reaction based on the different breaches that could happen. And as you know, I think all of us now are facing that today. We ensure that MFA is activated everywhere. Multi-factor authentication. This is when you try to connect to your usual company or corporate email, and they ask you to use your phone or another third-party data to ensure that this is you behind the screen. So we're leveraging that too to ensure that all time we know who's accessing the system and who can manage the data. Of course, as mentioned, we're not working by ourselves. We're leveraging different external vendors, and each one of them is going through a thorough risk assessment to ensure they meet our security regulation. Data backup and recovery. What does it mean? That means that if anything happens, we have a way to ensure that you're going to continue to be able to operate. At all time, we're taking backup. We have a way to restore this backup and ensure that you will always be able to work. Continuous monitoring, because as mentioned, when it happens, we need to be ready. We need to be reactive as fast as possible. So all the data, all the access are being monitored all time, and all of us going to be ready to jump on a call night and day, 24 hours, 7 hours per day, 24 hours per day. Internal security audit, as mentioned, we have this external audit, but even between ourselves, we need to ensure that we are following the best practice. So we have conduct internal security audit. And as mentioned, this response plan that's going to ensure that if anything happens, we're going to be ready to react, share with you if it needs to be shared, and so continue to secure our environment. Last but not least, all the developers working with us are following this best practice. They're all aware of every change that we're doing. So all the different modules that you have seen will always be based on this backbone of security that we're trying to maintain at Expense.ai. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate it. While we have you, we got a question in. I'm gonna sort of interpret it a little bit because I think you covered some of the topics in your session. But this firm is in Amsterdam, and they just wanted to know how is their data. I think this is really a separation segregation type question. Can you walk through that briefly? How their data is secure within their geo?
So what's kind of great with Expense.ai leveraging the secure cloud infrastructure is now with cloud, we have a way to put in place a new environment wherever the client wants it. So basically, if someone is in Amsterdam, we can leverage GCP, our cloud provider, to ensure they have their own environment dedicated in Amsterdam. And we even do that for every kind of environment, production, non-prod. So each customer receives their own environment for development, staging, or production, which is dedicated. And that means what? That means because it's inside their region, it follows their own regulation. So if you don't want to have anything in the US or Canada and want everything in Europe, you're going to be able to have all the data shared in Europe and never going outside of this region. This is the beauty of the cloud that we're leveraging right now.
That's great. I think that answered the question. I don't see any others relative to security. So thank you, Jeremy, for that. That's great. I'm going to spend a quick few minutes just talking about giving you a commercialization update. It's been a very busy year here at Expense.ai, and it's only 3/4 over. We're just starting our fourth quarter. We've been busy with a lot of things in the market, so I'll just give you a brief update to share with you some of the journey that we've made so far. So if you could go to the next slide there, Dominic. So I wanted to share, we've added some new logos to our group. Can't share all of them because of some, obviously some folks are a little bit more confidential with that, but we can share we've added quite a few. And there are also quite a few here who are in various levels of review and inspection of Expense.ai. So just a brief slide to share with you some of the names that we've been happy enough to bring into the Expense.ai family. Very excited about them. But also, we expect we'll have some great news in the coming weeks and months as we start to wrap up 25 and get started with 26. We're also very busy with a lot of our technology. We're a technology partner with a lot of the premier vendors out there. We did attend the Elite Vantage show, which was in Orlando I think it was in May. And as well as we're now partners with SurePoint and Juris Concept, as well as with Harris Computer in Canada. So we continue to work on our technology partnerships, and we're continuing to broaden that group. But the point here is that in many cases, especially with some of the financial management vendors, we're not really competitive with them. We're complementary, right? We provide a very deep, rich solution, which really enhances their ability, and we have various levels of integration with those vendors to help them provide more value to their clients. So we work well with those folks, and we will continue to do so going forward on the technology partnership side. And as well, we're doing a lot in the marketing world. We obviously are very we do a lot with ILTA. Went to the ILTA conference in August, which was fantastic for us. For those of you who were there, perhaps you stopped by the booth. A big event this year, which was great. As well as with the Legal Tech Hub, and they're providing their service to help us get the word out that we are willing to partner with anybody in the space in the areas of finance automation, expense management, AP automation, et cetera. And then we also work with Future State Ambition down in Australia. So they are helping us to get the good word out across Asia Pacific, not only in Australia, New Zealand, but also up into Indonesia and Japan and Hong Kong and Singapore. So continuing to get the word out that we are a very powerful player in this particular space, and we're working with these folks to help us get that word out as well. As well as what we're doing with the technology partners, we're also continuing to expand that footprint a little bit as well. On the investment side, for those of you who may or may not know, we are a Canadian company headquartered in Montreal. So very involved with the investment partners throughout the throughout the Quebec investment environment. A few names here, as well as, in general, the government of Canada and those folks who can help us with fundraising and doing additional investment in the company. And as Jeremy had mentioned, we are a partner with Google. So, what we can do with those folks and how we use their platform has been very helpful in helping us expand our investment partner footprint as well. So that's really a wrap up of sort of what we're up to. I don't see any additional questions at this time unless I'm missing something. Does anybody else see any questions that I have missed so far? Okay. Well, what we'd like to do is thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule in order to spend it with us for an hour or so and learn a little bit more about Expense.ai. We do have our contact details here. Shoot us an email if you have any follow-on questions, if you'd like to have a personalized demonstration, if you want to talk a little bit more about some of the modularization of the platform, such that perhaps you would like to start looking at one or two of the modules or one module specifically. For example, I know we're getting a lot of interest recently in that redaction module that was released around the time of ILTA in August, because folks really struggle with that. And that is something that very honestly can plug into your existing processes and your existing workflows very quickly and add a lot of value there. But the point here is we're very excited to share with you what we're doing at Expense.ai on a personal basis with you or other members of your firm. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. As I said, there's an email here. We're also available on LinkedIn, and perhaps many of you received an invitation from us in the form of an email. Feel free to respond to that and reach out to us and let us know how we can help you. So again, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.